YouTube, it's Tone back again with another one for you. And so right here, what we have with this one is the UCC1 financing statement. This is one of the most crucial elements of this whole game, to be honest with you. Like, when you understand what we're dealing with is commercial in nature, then naturally I would imagine one would gravitate toward the idea that you need to secure your commercial conduit. And that's what this process is all about. Before you do all this shit, you want to do a UCC11. That's a title search. It's a lien search. So you're going to see if anybody else already has a lien on your all capital letter name, which is your conduit to conduct business and commerce, right? This is what allows you to operate in a fictional realm. So essentially, you want to make sure that it's clear to begin with, and if it's not, then you have to go to court and get that lien taken off, or you can discharge the amount of whatever they say that the lien is. Send an instrument. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go about getting rid of that. So anyway, what we have here is an example. This is out of the redemption manual. I highly suggest you go ahead and get your hands on that. That's going to put you in a position to understand this game for what it is. And it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of studying. You know, you figure how many years did it take you to get into the fucked up position that you're in right now? What, 20, 30, 40 fucking years doing shit the wrong way? It ain't going to be overnight that you figure out that you've been, how to operate in commerce properly, the right way. They taught us the wrong way just so they could fucking win the game. You know what I mean? But at the same time, none of this shit was ever hidden. It's easier now that we got the internet and all that shit, so we can find this stuff quicker. There's people who've been studying this shit for 15 years to get to where I'm at in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. And, you can't, and there's some really smart fucking people doing this shit. And I really hope that you don't think that people study for 4, 5, 6 years to just get a base understanding of this shit. And this is really fucking intelligent people. Right? So I hope you don't think that you're going to get to the bottom of what you're looking for in a fucking 10-minute video. That's some stupid shit. You need to read, you need to study. The only fucking way to do it, or else you're always going to be counting on somebody else to handle your commercial affairs, and then you're going to be a fucking slave, right? So you make the choice, right? And so I'd imagine if you're watching this now, then you already made the choice that you want to be free, and it's only by doing the work that you get free, and then everything else comes. It ain't about money. It ain't about fucking mansions and fucking Lamborghinis. I mean, can you get all that? Absolutely. But if that's all that you're in it for, you'll never be free, because you're gonna be a slave to your fucking possessions. That's not what it's about. It's about freedom, and then so everything else comes with that, right? It's not about. Come on, man. You guys got to use your fucking heads. So anyway, right here you have in the name section, right? You're gonna have, well, the name's blacked out there, but I'd imagine that it's in upper and lower case because you're the man. So just have it look similar. Take this as a concept and run with it. You don't want to do it fucking exactly like this. I did mine similar to this, but prior to doing all this, you have to have a security agreement in place and all that. There's a lot of work that you have to get to in order to have all of your numbers looking proper like this, because when you're going to enter all this information in here, that means that you had to have already done it, right? So your employer ID, treasury direct account number, prepaid account number, post certified account. This means that you already did all the work, and then you're just basically putting a lien on all the documentation that you already have created and notarized and all that. Some of the stuff is not going to be notarized, like your security agreement is private. It doesn't have to be notarized. You can notarize it on your own with a stamp, cancel the stamp, and you're the postmaster, you're the notary. A lot of ways to go about this. But if it's a private security agreement, you make it valid in the public by entering this information in there, and then now your private information is valid in the public, and it also counts as notice as to the fact that you're now taking your straw man into the private, and these people can no longer touch it, right? And you got to understand that you're not your straw man. That's not you. So this documentation also creates a separation between you and your straw man. So when you go into court, you can show them that you already have the primary that you're the primary priority lien holder in this whole situation, and they're just secondary to that. So you're gonna need to get paid before they can even try to play games with any of that shit, for whatever the lien amount is. So before you do all that, you want to do this here. UCC11 form is used to request a certified copy or certified listing of one or many debtors. If you simply want to browse and view information without ordering or paying for a certified copy or listing, you can use the public browse database function, which I do, just to verify that my shit is still in there. The public browse function is free, and you can link by clicking here. So you can do that in your particular state, because this is all you have to do it by each state, right? It isn't. I mean, there may be a federal search. I don't know. I never looked, but from what I understand, you have to search in each state if you're looking for something like that. And you want to definitely make sure that that there is no liens in place before you go ahead and place yours, because then you'll be the fucking second lien holder, and that's not a good place to be. You want to be first in this game to win. So that's a UCC1. UCC11 gets done first, right? And then here we have UCC financing statement addendum, because after you file that, you're going to file a UCC3, which is when you add information to it that either shouldn't be in the public or didn't fit on that paper, right? So for further identification of secured party creditor and debtor, see attached documents to be filed: commercial notice of trade name, affidavit of denial of operating in commerce, and declaration of certificate of sovereign status. So what this is, so this information is going to get sent directly to the Secretary of State, and then you're going to request them to send back certified copies, which you're going to have to pay a fee for as well. So you see how it's stamped here by the state. This acknowledges the fact that they entered it into the system, and then you have a number here and all that. And even if you don't get it back, it doesn't mean that it ain't in the fucking system. It means that maybe they didn't fucking just send it back. You know what I mean? But you could bring this into them, hand it to them, and have them stamp it right there in front of you and all that. Just make sure that you know what you're doing, because you're always going to be tested in this whole game. You're always going to be tested. It's not that you're ever going to get to a point where they're like, oh yeah, let me just leave them alone. I mean, it's their job to fucking test you, make sure you know who the fuck you are at all times, and that you know how to operate, right? So UCC financing statement amendment. This is if you want to go in and correct any information, to amend any information. If something changed, right, you're gonna want to go ahead and send that into them and let them know what the changes were in order for them to update the documents and things like that too as well, right? So I hear a lot of people talking about the UCC1. Everybody has a lot to say about it. Nobody ever did it, right? So this is how you go ahead and go about getting the information for templates and things like that, and like an idea of where to start, because this is how I had to do it. I didn't have anybody do this shit for me. There's people that will charge you to do all this whole process, but then what do you have? You have a fucking pile of papers that you don't know what the fuck to do with. That's not a good place to be in either. Now you're always gonna have to pay these people to do shit for you. You might as well just stick with the government and be a fucking slave, because now you're gonna be a slave to whoever the fuck made your paper. Plus they're gonna have all your personal information. Who do you really trust with all that? So